Hi, this is Midrash Pekudei, and we're talking here about the angel that disabled our moral compass at birth. We all know the famous Gemara that in utero the baby is learning Torah all day. It comes out, we are touched on the upper lip, and he forgets it. But the Midrash has a much more expanded version of that. It does mention that the baby is learning Torah, but before the neshama is even forced into the drop, which goes in to make the baby, this neshama is given a world tour and shown what happens to the righteous and what happens to the wicked, and given many moral lessons and warnings, and even told where it's going to die and where it's going to be buried. So it comes in with a lot of moral lessons, and all that is forgotten when the baby leaves the womb. The question is the same as the question about learning. Why learn it if you're going to forget it? So there are some famous answers, and I think they may apply to both. Some say that you can't learn Torah, or it's easier to learn Torah if you've learned it once, even though you might have forgotten. There's some familiarity, and so that's why you learned it once. The Be'er Mamarim actually says that you can't learn Torah unless you would have learned it once, because it's on a different plane and you wouldn't even be able to absorb it. The Ben Ish Chai says something beautiful. Maybe COVID is on my mind, but it's like an inoculation. You're about to come out into the world where there is free choice and there is a Yetzer Hara, and so you need to be fortified with having learned Torah. And I could say that you need to be fortified with all these moral lessons that the soul learns from the angel showing him what happens to people, righteous people, happens to the wicked. So there's another notion in society about going back to the womb, and I was wondering if this could give a new dimension to that. The expression usually refers to people wanting the safety and having all their needs taken care of, and that's certainly true of the womb. But since we are learning that the soul comes into the womb with these great moral lessons and learns Torah in the womb, perhaps for those seeking Torah, for those seeking truth, going back to the womb is really what's driving them to learn Torah. And even though, again, it was mostly forgotten and the lessons were forgotten, but it's still driving them, whatever semblance is left is driving them to want to learn Torah. And that's another layer of what it means to go back to the womb. Have a great Shabbos.